And now, back to the Stogie Geeks.
And we're back. Wanted to remind everyone to visit www.stogiegeeks.com. Also mention our couple of our sponsors, Ocean State Cigars, fine makers of the J. Grotto series cigars, getting some wonderful reviews out there in the blogosphere, as they refer to it.
That Lancero.
And just to clarify, I'm talking about blogs, I'm talking about podcasts, talking about videos. There's a lot of wonderful media out there, Facebook as well as Twitter. They're just abuzz with everyone who's very passionate about cigars. The J. Grotto series cigars, the Silk, the Grotto series, and the Grotto Reserva line are all wonderful cigars, and you can visit them online at oceanstatecigars.com. Also want to mention the Havana Cigar Club. It's a local cigar club here, not too far from the Stogie Geek Studio B. And
Not at all.
yeah, if you they're havana-cigar-club.com. And you can go there and get memberships. And if you see me and mention Stogie Geeks, I can give you a $5 off coupon for your first visit. That's good for your first visit only. And you should go there and go see Todd and all the wonderful people there and sign up for a membership. Make sure you tell them you heard it about on the Stogie Geeks. We're going to have a coupon, actually, that people can download from the Stogie Geeks site to get a $5 off coupon for first-time visitors. So.
Sweet.
Please look them up.
Check it out. It's really a cool environment.
It's pretty swank.
Yeah, it is.
They have the best ventilation system. It's unbelievable because it's a brand new building, so they put a brand new ventilation system in it. It's like you're smoking outside.
You could go in there in a suit.
Yeah.
And go back to the office.
Yeah.
And no one would know.
Absolutely. It's not as state of the art as our ventilation system here. If you look at Steve's camera, let me see if I can get a close look.
Yes,
there's our state of the art ventilation system right here in on camera 3.
This is the duct tape.
Yeah, there's a lot of duct tape.
Notice this.
Yep. That's duct tape.
Hand.
Yeah, and that's a pizza box. Yep.
Duct tape. Yeah, that is a luckily
we're gonna
ordered
patent
chicken bites today.
the duct tape and the pizza box ventilation system we got going on here. So,
just like Domino's made to order. So
that's right. That's right. You know, we go with what we're working with. So, okay, here's the segment. It's not choosing the right cigar to give. It is cigar etiquette.
Oh, geez.
Are you ready to be quizzed on cigar etiquette? Okay, I'm going to quiz you first on each of these questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mark Jr.
Okay.
Okay, so this is I pulled a lot of websites. I linked to them in the show notes, and I've got a list of about 10 questions or so that have to do with cigar etiquette. Okay, Steve, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Where should you smoke? Like, if you were...
Me personally, the ventilation helps out a lot. It's nice to smoke outside.
Well, if you were like, let's say you were at an outdoor sporting event, would you just fire up a cigar right in the crowd?
No, I mean, in terms... All right, so I remember now it's an etiquette question. I feel bad when I'm around people who aren't smoking and your exhale goes right in their face and they inhale a big
cloud
of
smoke.
like fresh smoke and I don't have to deal with it. So I mean, maybe around people who acknowledge that you're there in a smoking area or people who are smoking cigars in general.
But now, if you're at a cigar event,
yeah,
does that matter so much?
It seems like it's going to be happening everywhere, so maybe not.
Yeah. Mark Jr., what are your thoughts on where to smoke? All these articles on cigar etiquette talk about where to smoke. There's limits,
Do you want me to give my general thought, or do you want me to give me the
I want your general thought, because I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this.
I don't give a shit. Like, personally,
Mark Jr. is from the Honey Badger school of cigar smoking.
The Honey Badger don't care.
He don't give a shit.
The only time I really don't like it is if there's pregnant women in my presence.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's nice.
That's a good point.
And then I will be respectful. Other than that, I'm typically only around people that either smoke cigars or they're in my backyard and tough crap. Like,
absolutely.
You know.
Oh, yeah. If they're in my establishment and we're outside. I mean, generally outside is an okay place to smoke, except if
bleachers or something.
It's you're like in close quarters with people.
Yeah,
probably not a good
idea. If you're at a high school football game and you know, everybody's around
the
you.
outdoor tent at a wedding reception.
I mean, years ago that was acceptable, but now it's just not. You know, whatever. You gotta there has to be some limits as to where you're going to smoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If there's children and pregnant women that can't get out of my way, then I'm respectful.
Or there's also the thing where if it's an event where it's expected that there will be guys smoking cigars,
well, then you don't have to come.
But you kind of off to the side a little bit. Like we have a neighborhood block party here. Everybody knows the neighborhood block party. Everyone brings cigars, and all the guys light up cigars. And then we don't stand like way off in the distance, but we'll kind of designate a little corner off to the side, and people know we're in. Everyone has.
Well, I guess that's what I say, but I don't care. Like I'm not going to sit there and blow it in somebody's face.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I'm at some event where I can be a little bit off to the side. I don't care. I'm gonna.
And there are pregnant women there, and there are children there, and everyone is totally fine with it. And everyone actually compliments how wonderful our cigars smell, because it's an outdoor event, and so you have to be mindful of things like that. I think when you're a cigar smoker, that there are certain limits. I'm definitely in the more of the I don't give a shit mindset in that case, but you do have to, have some.
I guess I give a shit. I don't give a ton of shits.
Just one.
Okay. Steve, here's question number 2.
Sure.
How often should you ash the cigar?
Okay. The first thing I did was stab myself essentially with this, so I didn't want it to happen again. And I think this headset is what's intimidating me. But anyway, I was good the last few weeks, and in general, to try and not force the ash off, that usually you can tell when it's getting a little rickety and almost just leaning it'll fall off. And I noticed with you essentially just hold it until it falls off.
Yeah, I'm pretty much of the let the ash fall where it may school of thought, which ruins a lot of clothing, to be honest with you. Not necessarily the best thing to do all the time, but you don't want to ash too often, right?
Because it affects the draw a lot when you knock it off and you're kind of like tearing that connection with the ember and the smoke.
Well, not so much. Mark Jr., how often do you ash?
What's the reason?
I let the cigar tell me when it needs to be ashed, right? Like, I try not to ash in my lap. So I probably...
You do a pretty good job of not
I probably ash a little bit more frequently than Paul does. But at the same time, if it's... One thing that leaps out to me immediately is the work of art Maduro, right? Like you could smoke a work of art Maduro and ash once.
Mm-hmm.
Ash once, tight. and then at the end you're pitching an ash with a nub attached to the end of it. So yeah, I don't force the issue. I just let it. Let the cigar tell me.
I just let it fall. The problem is if you ash too often, and a lot of newer cigar smokers will do this. You give them a cigar. And they're going to ash it like a cigarette.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do that.
And constantly flick it, and it's annoying. Because what's going to happen is the cigar is going to get hot.
Yeah.
And it's going to get harsh.
Because the ash will limit how
it actually kind of it cools it off a little. I don't know. Does it draw some of the heat? I don't know the whole science behind it, but
it is bringing air through it. So maybe I don't know. Who knows?
It doesn't burn as hot when there's an ash on the end. Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's like Santa Claus. Just works.
Okay, so here's one for you, Steve.
Yes.
When should you take the band off?
Well, the first week I was here, I didn't take it off until the edge of it was singed. So that was a little too late.
That's okay.
But maybe right before it's about to get singed.
That's pretty good.
Something like that. I even move it down sometimes because I don't want to take it off. But
it is kind of nice having the band on. I do
cool. You guys go pretty long usually.
When do you take the band off?
I come from the school of thought where there's no real right or wrong answer to this one, right? Like, so I don't have mine on right now. There was plenty of space in between it. I just felt like screwing with it and peeling it off. Sometimes I feel a little self-conscious about like smoking certain things around certain people.
Certain,
so I'll take them right away. You know what I mean? Take them off right away. It's not a self-conscious in like, oh, well, they're going to think that I'm smoking crap. It's more like sometimes I don't really want to rub the fact that I'm smoking a really nice cigar in someone's face. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's very crowd specific. That doesn't happen often to me, but it has happened that way. I don't know. As long as I'm not smoking the band, I don't really care when it comes off.
Yeah. I kind of subscribe to the school of thought that when the band warms up a little bit, it heats up the glue that holds the band together, and it comes off easier. Cool. So if I had to answer the question, I would say when the band feels a little warm to the touch, when the cigar starts getting warm around the band,
Yeah.
that's when I take the band off because it tends
Makes
to loosen
sense.
up the glue and come off a lot easier.
Cool.
Now, having said that, if when I first light the cigar up and I'm holding it and the band's sliding around a lot or feeling like it wants
That's
to come
annoying
off,
to me. I take them
I
off
just
right
take it
away.
off. I just take it off.
That's kind of what happened to me today, actually. The
Yeah.
main band was sliding around a little bit.
Yeah,
and-
see, like these bands right here, they don't feel like they want to go anywhere. So I don't like to force it off because what'll happen is you'll end up like ripping
breaking
a hole in the
wrapper.
wrapper,
Yeah.
and I don't like to do that. So
Okay.
I'll wait. If they still like at this point now, you can see where my cigar is. I mean, there's a good inch or so between where the cigar is burning and where the band is, and I'm leaving it. Like I'm not going to force the issue. There's no need for me to take it off right now. So I'll wait till it gets there. Now sometimes I forget, and the band gets a little singed, but to me that doesn't. You find it doesn't destroy the taste for me by any stretch.
No.
I don't. You shouldn't smoke through it either.
Yeah.
Some people will.
Just smoke the whole band.
You'll smoke through the. Yeah, you don't want to smoke the
It's really
band.
funny.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely want to. If there's a
One
band-
thing that will take the cake, right, is I went to an event one time and somebody was smoking the cedar that was on the outside of the cigar.
Oh, cool.
No, it was
No,
not
I mean,
cool.
They just the whole thing. Maybe the plastic was on there too.
I don't.
Yeah, that's bad.
It was horrible.
Okay, so Steve,
Yes.
when you go to a cigar shop, I don't know, you haven't visited a cigar shop
I've
with
been
us
to a
yet.
few. No,
Okay.
not with you guys. No, I've been to Mr. Cigar.
So that's okay.
In North
Like, in
Providence,
In North
Yeah,
Providence, yeah. Middle
It's a
it's a
Spring.
nice little spot.
Yeah. I've actually never been in there. I gotta stop in there.
Yeah, check it out.
So, when you go into a cigar shop and you're gonna have a cigar, do you bring your own cigars or do you buy one from the place where you're going to smoke?
Well, I've never smoked at a cigar shop, but maybe it would be kind of a friendly thing to buy one of their cigars and maybe
See,
not necessarily smoke it there, but maybe
yeah.
just buy one so you're not just going to
Common
smoke
sense,
space.
Steve. That's
Yeah.
exactly the right answer, right?
Okay,
Mark
good.
Jr., you've frequented a lot of cigar bars, shops.
If I don't have a standing relationship with the shop owner,
Yeah,
I buy something every time I go in.
absolutely.
Nice.
Every time I go in, whether or not I smoke that cigar that I just bought,
Hmm.
likely I won't. I will buy something every time I go in.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt, I will buy at least one cigar.
Yeah.
I will typically buy a cigar for every one that I smoke there, too, as a matter of fact. Now, I have a great relationship with our most common one. I don't always do that. Right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. I feel like I've earned the right to smoke a cigar
Yeah.
in there. I've bought enough stuff there.
Exactly.
I bought way more than I've ever smoked in that building. so,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a balance. It's a
But that's a relationship thing. I feel like I've earned that. I've earned that right to do that, as opposed to where, certainly the first time I walk into somewhere, I'm definitely
you buy a
buying
cigar.
something. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. All right. So this is an interesting one. A couple of articles covered. If you're in a cigar shop, right now, you've been to enough Stogie Geeks episodes, you could probably tell if their staff was either cutting or lighting a cigar wrong or
Yeah.
giving out the wrong information. Do you correct them?
Well, it's like a lot of stuff. I mean, it's maybe like the way you can talk to the. I mean, of course, if you know the person and how if you know how they would respond to that, it's hard to tell someone in the middle of an activity they're taking shots wrong or something. But maybe if you could suggest it in a good way,
Yeah.
it could change their life for the better. But at the same time, maybe they could take offense to it. So I guess how willing are you to correct them?
Mark Jr., so what do you do? Do you correct people?
I don't, unless
Uh-oh.
Unless they light my cigar.
well, yeah, that's
Yo,
one thing,
yo,
right?
dude,
Like if I see him
not
doing that, I'll
cool.
just light my own cigar. Uh,
I tend to,
unless they're gonna like blatantly throw it in my face, like you know what I'm saying?
Tell
like,
you you're doing it wrong.
yeah,
Oh, buddy,
like
buddy.
take it easy,
Excuse
buddy.
me.
Like for instance, I was on the cruise ship not that long ago. There was a cigar lounge in there, and there were some people in there smoking fake Cubans. They were blatantly fake. I could see that they were fake from the get-go. And I wasn't going to go up there and rain on their parade. They were having a great time. They thought they were smoking some Cubans. They were having the time of their life. Who am I to go ruin that on them, right? They weren't being know-it-alls. They weren't being anything. They were just having a great time. So,
Yeah.
So be it. Have a great time.
Now, the person in the chat, the Ringer, brings up a question. Is it a bad form to try a single cigars from the local shop but buy boxes online? It's a good question.
It is a good question. You know, I don't know if we're in the minority here, but and so has Paul, built up a very strong relationship with our person that we deal with the most. So, you know, if I'm in there and I'll say, hey, I can get these for this price.
Right.
And I want to get them. If he says, fine, I'll take care of you, I'll sell them to you for that price, then I'm going to buy them from him. Right? Even if it's close. Right? If I'm going to spend 5 to 10% more to buy it from him, I'll buy it. But if he can't come anywhere close to it, he knows that I'm going to get it. I'm not just going to waste my money.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that he knows that I'm still going to come back and buy cigars from him too. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know if this necessarily answers the question, but a good cigar owner, shop owner, like Paul, for example, you know, when you build up a relationship with him, will tell you, you know, at a certain point, like, he knows there are certain cigars that they're just going to be cheaper online when you buy boxes, for sure.
He just can't get there.
And there's no way. And he's going to be like, you know what, Paul? You got to do what you got to do. But also he knows that there's going to be a ton of stuff that he gets that's either going to be, you can't get it online, or it's, you know, not exclusive to the shop, but stuff that he's going to get in that you're going to be able to more easily sample and then buy the box because you're not going to get a good discount online. Like, I'm thinking of the Lost City, Opus X Lost City, right? Like, you don't really often find deals on boxes of Lost City.
No. Even on Cigar Bid, where they have them regularly.
And not even on singles.
They'll typically go for MSRP or even higher. Because those people can't find them.
So he knows when he gets those in, if he's got a good relationship with you, and as a cigar geek, he's building up a relationship.
You need a go-to shop owner.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a true cigar geek, you need that.
Yeah. And he knows that you're going to go buy the blends, like a Lost City is a good example, from him. And he knows that. And that's exactly what I did. You know, buy my Lost City from him. You know what I mean? And I also think you have to be fair too, that if you're going to save $5 or $10 on a box, you give the local shop owner a break.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
If it's close, I always go towards the brick and mortar.
Right.
But if I'm talking, one thing that jumps to mind immediately is the La Aurora Preferidos, right?
Yeah.
You can get those on auction for $140 a box, sometimes $150 a box. Where you buy those at a store, they're going to be $225, $230 a box. That's a huge difference. That's a substantial difference.
Absolutely.
And I don't think anyone could fault you for doing that.
No, certainly not.
No.
Yeah. So I think that your shop owner is going to really determine how you conduct yourself in that situation.
Plus, if you buy a lot of stuff at a shop, they're typically going to give you a better deal than what you would normally buy it for, because, you know,
absolutely,
they want that relationship as bad as you do, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so Steve, another question for you here. I know you're going to go pretty soon.
That's cool.
If you use someone else's lighter to light your cigar and it runs out of gas, or you make adjustments, you know, how do you tell them about that?
Well,
do you
I
do
know
that?
about you guys and your lighters, and I never want to mess with them.
Yeah.
Is it just someone you're hanging out with and they hand you the lighter to use?
Yeah. That happens in the cigar shop all the time.
I would probably point out that it's out, or that I was going to make an adjustment before I did it. Or maybe ask them, say like, oh, is this okay? Can you check it out? And then they could like do. But at the same time, if I felt familiar with them and comfortable with the lighter, they probably wouldn't mind if I turn the gas up a little bit to make it run. But I don't know.
Tell them about that stuff though, Mark Jr.?
Well, you just do it. Don't mention it to them.
Yeah, I think doing it and not mentioning it to them is bad form.
Yeah, it's horrible for them, especially if you empty out their lighter and give it back.
Or
to
you
them,
turn the flame like all the way up on them and they burn their eyebrow off. You know, that's like, not cool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely poor form not to say something. I would go as far to say it's poor form to adjust somebody's lighter.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
You know, that's their lighter, and they probably have it adjusted that way because that's the way that they like it, right?
Yeah.
So you asked to borrow their lighter, so that's the crux of the biscuit, if you will, right? So like, I don't adjust people's lighters, and if I empty them, I will, you know, most cigar
Stores you go up and
places
say,
you
hey,
go
my,
to,
yeah, my lighter's
my
out.
lighter's empty. They'll fill it, or
Yeah.
they'll charge you a nominal fee, $1 to fill your lighter or something like that.
Mhm.
I'll go get it filled for them.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I finished it. I fill it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I
So
think
that's
the right answer.
my two cents on that.
Okay.
Cool.
How do you put out a cigar?
Ooh. Well, in a pinch, see, you guys are really not into relighting cigars after the fact. So, I mean, if it was like you're done with the cigar.
You're done. Yeah, you're done.
I mean,
What do you do?
is it like you have to put it out right then and there? You don't want to
No,
let
like you're done smoking it. What do you do?
Well, I find that a lot of cigars, they'll kind of let themselves go out. You stop dragging them, you put them on an ashtray, they'll be out in 5 minutes or so.
That's really good, Steve.
Yeah,
I'm impressed
pretty
with your
good.
answer.
That's
on that.
insightful for a
beginner.
There, yeah.
Because most beginners
Wanna,
will, like a
stab
cigarette,
it out
will
like a
take
cigarette.
and they'll mash it
Yeah.
in the ashtray.
That's
What
not
happens
gonna.
is
It won't even change
smells
it
so
smells
bad.
horrible.
Yeah.
It smells horrible.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is just lay the cigar down in the
They don't
ashtray,
put that much smoke out.
Move on.
and it goes
Move
out
on.
all by itself.
Just leave.
Yeah. That's a big one with the beginners. So do you ever, but say a cutter is not available?
Mhm.
Do you bite the end off a cigar if you're
Oof.
amongst cigar smoking friends or inside of a lounge?
I've been in that pinch at work, and I've had to use a plastic knife, plastic serrated. That sucked. At my house, I had to use a nice straight blade knife, and that worked. But I guess if those aren't available, yeah, I mean, I've bit the end of cigars off before, but it's never as clean. It really is. It's kind of a sacrifice. So.
I think that's a good point, though. It's a sacrifice. I'll
it's
give that
tough.
one to him.
And I've never tried to punch stuff. I mean, maybe you could find something to
Well,
punch it
so
with. but-
some people say you can get a key and
yeah,
poke, and
yeah,
poke
I'd
the end
assume
of it in.
that'd probably
Yeah.
punch it pretty good. But you guys aren't big fans of punches necessarily, because they're pretty into the straight cut.
I don't
we
hate on
really-
punches.
No,
Well,
I just
Just not my favorite.
But I like what you guys point. I mean, it makes sense. You're compacting a little bit for a small hole relative to the size, and you guys are pretty big on like getting almost a complete shear on the end, maybe a little bit of an arc, but compare those two, you got a lot more airflow.
I think if there's a lot of cigars that put off a lot of smoke that's kind of obnoxious, punching it might not be a bad idea.
Limit it.
No. My father-in-law was a huge punch fan. Loved
Really?
to punch cigars. I feel like, and one of his buddies who I really tremendously respect his opinion in terms of what he gets from cigars and stuff. His name's King Ants on Cigar Pass. He doesn't do much anymore by the way of reviews, but he typically punched cigars unless it was a torpedo, and then he would cut it. So, but I like the volume of smoke you get out of a straight cut, personally.
Yeah, me too. I think it's all about volume. Robustos, I probably could do more with punching the Robustos.
This
what I'm
thing
saying?
probably could have been punched.
This, yeah, probably
Would
I
have
don't know.
smoked fine with a
Probably
punch,
would
I'm
have. Yeah,
sure.
this thing is pouring smoke. How is your cigar doing, by the way?
It's awesome. It's really awesome. It's kind of got like a, I don't know. I'm not the most eloquent in terms of like on the spot. I really need to think about it sometimes in terms of the flavor, but
As I smoke further down in this cigar, the flavors intensify. And I don't want to say it's a citrus sweetness, but it definitely changes up in the last. I'm nearing the last third of this cigar, and it's very different.
it's
From
got
the first third, from the middle
I know
third
what you're
to the,
saying with that citrus, because I
Yeah.
was going to go out on a limb and say it too, but I think it would be a little bit wrong to say that.
It's not citrus.
It's crisp
Yeah.
in the way that a citrus is crisp,
Yes. Yeah.
but it's not that like soury type.
It's got a citrus characteristic.
It's
almost.
crisp. It's got like a crisp type sweetness to it now.
Each third is very. I find it to be very.
I've
different.
found the sweetness to be incredibly dynamic in this cigar.
Yeah.
It's had presented a couple different types of sweetness, some different characteristics to that sweetness. It's been the prevailing flavor to me.
Yeah.
Is a sweetness throughout the whole cigar.
freaking awesome cigar, right?
Dude, I would definitely buy these.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You would not think something first from the place I bought them, Cigars International, that was something that E. Carrillo said, this doesn't make the cut for my short run blend. And then to be in this ring gauge, which we all are kind of like, it's usually a muted kind of flavor, you throw all three of those things out the window with this cigar, because it's just, I think it's great.
Yeah.
What would you guys rate it?
I would say box worthy.
Wow.
They come in boxes of 10, right?
I bought a 10-pack, so it came in 2 packs of 5. There was like a piece of cardboard. 5 of them set in cellophane sat on the cardboard, and then the whole thing was wrapped in another layer of cellophane.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a bundle.
I would buy a box of 10.
Yeah, I think
without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Having 20 or
20 would be too many.
Maybe in a smaller size, I might. I'm curious to see now how the other sizes smoke.
Yeah, I would buy a box of the Coronas blind at this point, I think.
You think so?
I think
really?
I would,
wow, that's the flavors are awesome in this cigar.
Yeah, because I can only imagine what the cigars like this would be in a smaller ring gauge.
Mm. Okay, so we kind of talked about this. So, like, if you're smoking a Cuban or something rare, do you announce it to the world? Do you kind of flaunt it in the?
Well, it's a good point. You know,
you're smoking a Cuban now. You kind of that's your first Cuban cigar.
It is. Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
It was really good. It went out, but I'll take it with me, man. It's really good. I know you
that's
guys
what you
like
say. Yeah.
haters on that, but I get some matches in my car. But it was really good, and I even asked the Google Hangout some ways to describe the flavor, and some of the guys were like some hay. And another guy said like a little bit like, and I said it was you guys were hinting it was a food that I might be tasting or food flavor. And they said, it's hard for me. I kind of agree with it, but I'm not really sure it's what I'm getting. But one of them said bread. It was like bready, but it's really nice. The smoke is.
So what would you think your flavor? What flavors did you?
It's tough. It wasn't very sweet, and it wasn't very spicy. That's why it's funny that I started to be like, oh, is it like spicy? I was trying to get it out of you guys, but it I don't know. It definitely is a pretty medium-bodied smoke. It wasn't light for I guess these smaller ones, they burn hotter. Is that true?
Well, you got to smoke a little slower when you smoke a smaller ring. So what's your flavor profile for the Por La Añaga Monte Carlo?
The thing that sticks out in my mind predominantly is like an orange peel.
Orange peel citrus for me.
Bang, done.
And it's interesting, with age, those will put, now Stogie Santa gave us like ridiculously old ones. And it, as that cigar ages, it goes from an orange peel citrus, like you would, like if you were to eat the peel off an orange, that's the flavor I get from them initially. As they age, that flavor turns into cream soda.
Wow.
Orange cream soda.
That's pretty killer.
So now we'll hit you back with that.
I'll let you know.
Yeah. So now smoke the rest of that and kind of make that mental.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how fast should you smoke cigars? Like, do you take down a big double Corona in 30 minutes?
Oh man, I've been finding that I've been challenging myself a little too much, and not only am I getting hit with so much, like I'll just be, it's like drinking, you know, like you get into a groove, and then by the time you're drunk, you're already like on your way to get too drunk. And with these things, I've been taking in so much smoke too fast that I find that pacing it would really go a lot smoother in the long run. But you guys, it's in a lot of ways I'm trying to keep up with you guys at the pace you guys smoke. But
well, I think that's a good point. You need to smoke at your own pace.
Yeah, but it's fun because staying on top of it, it definitely keeps the kind of interaction with what you're tasting. You can compare the exhales a lot more readily, and
yeah, with a smaller ring gauge, you want to smoke slower.
Yeah.
Well, the larger ring gauge, like Mark and I are smoking, you can smoke faster, and it's not going to get too hot.
Yeah.
No matter how fast you smoke it.
Yeah, the problem with smoking too fast is it gets too hot and it gets harsh and bitter.
Yeah.
You smoke too slow, it tends to go out, and then you have to relight it, which can also affect the flavor.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a pace that you want to keep. And in a cigar, you get to learn different cigars and the pace they like to be smoked.
Good to know. Yeah, I might.
Some people say like a puff or two per minute. I think that's a little slow for me. I tend to smoke things a little bit faster than when I read a review. They're like, oh, it took me like, let's say an hour to smoke a Robusto.
Challenge it.
That might be like a 45-minute smoke or a 50-minute smoke for me. So I'm like slightly faster than most people.
Yeah, some people are just way too fast.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I definitely was in that camp when I first started smoking. I used to smoke cigarettes and stuff like that. So yeah, I had to slow down. I had to force myself to slow down. But I'm at a level of comfort now where I can kind of just start smoking a cigar, feel out its sweet spot, and kind of go with it.
So if someone gives you a cigar, how do you reciprocate?
Well, I think returning in kind is always a good way. But I mean, if you guys were to give me a cigar, it would take some research to return a gift, so to speak. But maybe something of a similar type or price range for a more amateur. Like if a friend were to give me a cigar, it would be for a strange reason because I don't know many cigar smokers. So it would probably be someone who smokes a lot more than I do, most likely. And at that, I wouldn't want to shortchange him with some crap. So maybe some booze, I don't know, or maybe a cigar. I don't know too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely want to reciprocate. We talked about that on the show a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think the kind or type really matter. I mean, if someone gave me a $45 Davidoff, I wouldn't feel compelled to
give him one back.
give them a $50, to like one up them and go, But you want to give them something good or something different, maybe.
So maybe that's the good twist is depending on how well it hits you, you could try and be motivated to wow them back or something. Maybe.
Yeah. We talked a lot about that in the last show.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's appropriate to give them something that time either, unless unless it is appropriate, right? Like you and I, for instance, we give each other cigars all the time. We're not expecting something back right then.
No.
I don't really think I'm expecting something back ever. But I also do know in the back of my mind, hey, this guy, I know him, right? Like if he gets something he comes across in his humidor, I've never had it. He'll definitely, definitely hook me up with one so I could try it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But if I don't know somebody and they hook me up with a cigar, I'm definitely going to find a way to reciprocate. There's no two ways about it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it quicker rather than later so that I can.
Mm-hmm. No,
But that's me in general. I don't like to mooch.
You guys are nice guys. A lot of bottles of booze get brought to this place. So you guys are always trying.
I think you'll find with regular cigar smokers, it be generous.
Yeah, you guys.
And with anyone, be generous. I mean, I think the time that you only hold back is maybe the person that we talked about this in the last show too. The person that maybe not is going to truly appreciate, and it's not their fault, right? They're just new, getting into it, or maybe they don't know if they really like cigars yet. So you're not going to take the vintage Cubans, and it's also a size thing too. Like I'm not going to give you the 2001 Double Corona, because you already told me like that's way too much cigar for me. And like to give a cigar that's over 10 years old of that size, you want to give it to someone that's going to enjoy the entire thing from start to finish. You know what I mean? Absolutely. That would be my only kind of rule.
I have two things that jump in my mind right away. I have a friend, Tom, doesn't smoke a lot of cigars, but really, really loves them when I give him something nice. So I kind of go out of my way to give him something awesome. I know he's going to smoke it. I know he's not going to waste it. And I know he's going to enjoy it. So, and he's a great friend of mine. So I hook him up, right? Then there's my uncle on the other hand, right? Great guy. I love the guy. But he doesn't smoke a lot of cigars. He doesn't really enjoy them the way that we enjoy them, right? So I can throw him the $5 Grand Habano, and he'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and knowing where people are going to be happy is important too.
And for me to give him, for instance, a Padron Family Reserve would be totally wasted on him. Yeah. So why waste, right? I don't think it's appropriate to waste something like that either at the same time, so...
Yeah, cigars, I find they're pretty similar to booze. It's like you can go through the experience with something a lot cheaper, but you guys who can appreciate those subtle undertones for something that costs twice or three times the amount for the same experience or the same activity, it would be wasted on someone who wouldn't normally do that. So it's interesting.
I wanted to talk about this kind of as one of the last things is our friend Ben, formerly of Nice Tide Ash, now with StogieReview.com. He's been featured on the show before. He posted a review of a Davidoff Royal Salomon. Have you ever had one of these?
No. Have you?
No, it's friggin' gigantic. It's a rare cigar, only for sale in Davidoff cigar stores worldwide, and only 90 boxes were made every year of this gem. Like for me, he got to try one, and let's see, I can look at the size. It's an 8 1/4 by 57.
Holy crap!
They are $2,385 for a box of 50, or $45 per cigar. Huge cigar, huge. Yeah, I
to gift
wanted
you
to
one.
highlight this review. I don't know if this is something we want to do on every show, but this is one of my favorite reviews, and I got to go back and read the whole thing.
He does a good job.
He does. He said, "Is this worth $45 a cigar?" In my humble opinion, he says, "Yes, it is. It took him 2 hours to smoke the cigar, and to me, that was worth $45 of my hard-earned money. Construction was immaculate. Flavors were outstanding. The smoking experience was exquisite. I want another one of these badly. I had the longest finish of any cigar I've ever smoked, as well as the balance was on point. Everyone should try at least one."
Yeah, so I think I gotta get.
Okay, Steve. See you later.
Having me?
Take care. So a Davidoff Royal Salomon is now on my bucket list. I want to try one of these.
Okay.
I got my $45.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Steve.
See you next week.
I got my $45 ready to purchase one at the first opportunity because I want to try one. And I'm a Davidoff fan. I mean, I don't like everything that Davidoff puts out, but I like their smokes.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you.
I like their smokes.
You don't like their. You don't. I don't know if I've ever seen you smoke a regular baseline Davidoff, but
Yeah, because the couple I've tried, I haven't been a big fan of.
if they're limited, I find that you have them.
And I'll try. I mean, not all the limited stuff is good, but their stuff that's limited that's good
It's great.
Is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something that's like really on my bucket list of things.
Royal Salomon. I read this review and I was like, wow, I gotta have one.
I recently acquired the top on my bucket list. I haven't smoked
Really?
it yet, but
Oh,
I
do
did.
tell.
The Frank, Tatuai Frank.
Oh, you got one finally.
I got one finally.
But no, was that the first Monster release?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I haven't smoked it yet. It's been waiting for me in my humidor for the appropriate time. So that's kind of been checked off. I'm going to go back to this. I would spend a tremendous amount of money to get another cigar in the bottle.
Yes. You smoked that
I
on
would
the show.
spend through the nose for that.
It was that good, huh?
I would spend through the nose for another shot at that. That was the best cigar I've ever had.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was awesome. It was ridiculous.
It's interesting that you can hands down say, this was the best cigar I've ever had.
It was ridiculous. It just blew my mind. I don't think I said anything
You did.
while I smoked that cigar.
You were totally lost in it.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk. I wanted to concentrate on what I was smoking because it was so damn good. I couldn't get over it. Right.
It was almost understated how good it was when you were smoking it on the show because you didn't really say much.
Yeah. No, it. I think about that cigar quite often, actually. Yeah.
Now you're scaring me.
So if there's a listener out there that has a cigar in the bottle, let me know, man. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I got a huge humidor. I could make that worth your while. I promise you.
Absolutely. But mine
And likely Paul, if anyone has one of those Davidoff Salomons, let Paul know.
Davidoff Royal Salomon.
Because we would love to trade with our listeners. We'd love to get more interactive with our listeners in that way.
Yeah. I mean, my firstborn's kind of older now, but I got a secondborn coming up. No, I'm just kidding.
You can have Annabelle for a week.
Yeah. For a short period of time, you could definitely.
She's really cute.
Do some babysitting. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. It's been a wonderful Stogie Geeks episode. And join the CRA. Visit your local shop. And we got to do the contest.
So I have the winner, if you'd like me to go.
Yeah, go ahead and read that.
So Rudy R. correctly answered the question of last week, which was, what does CLE stand for? And where did the name Quarenta come from? CLE stands for Christian Luis Eroa, and Quarenta means 40, and the cigar was called Quarenta because it was launched in tribute to Christian's 40th birthday. So congratulations, Rudy. We will get those out to you as soon as possible if you will send us your address to stogiegeeks@gmail.com.
And the contest question for this week, which we don't have an official prize picked out, I just have listed that we're going to give away an EP Carrillo 5er. I don't know what that means. It's a mystery pack 5er of EP Carrillo. I don't know what that means. I've got a lot of EPC Ernesto Perez Carrillo cigars in my humidor. So you may get something super freaking fabulous mixed in with other EP Carrillos. I mean, all his stuff is really good. So
Yeah. Don't pawn off your Corline Maduros on them, Paul.
no, I will not. I promise I will not include a Corline. I was actually thinking, I'm like, well, maybe that's a good way to get rid of my Corline Maduros. We will do an EP Carrillo fiver for you.
I'll make sure he doesn't pass those on to you guys.
Yeah, the question is, what did EP Carrillo aspire to be prior to entering the cigar business full-time with his father? Again, what did EP Carrillo aspire to be prior to entering the cigar business full-time with his father? Email to the answer to stogiegeeks@gmail.com, and we'll pick a winner at random after the podcast has been released, announce the winner on the last show. So I'm sorry, who was the winner for the last, and what did they win? The CLE.
The winner was Rudy R.
Rudy R.
Rudy R.
CLE
And
Robusto.
he answered the question, what does CLE stand for, and where did the name Quarenta come from?
And what was the answer to
The
that?
answer was Christian Luis Aroa, and Quarenta means 40 in Spanish. The cigar was called Quarenta because it launched in tribute of Christian's 40th birthday.
Nice.
Correct answer. Congratulations.
Again,
I
thanks
hope you enjoy the
everyone
smokes.
for listening, and we'll see everyone on the next episode.